Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. We only have special guests, and today we go to Texas to Anne Fry. Listen to her story. She and I met in New York City. She was a speaker, she was a writer, she was a coach. She was on top of her game. And now what? Listen carefully to her story. And thank you so much, Anne, for giving us a glimpse into your today's life. You and we actually met in New York when Janet Weiss gave her wonderful women's luncheons, and you were speaker there. And I always admire your work as a social worker and also coming to New York at the older age and surviving there. Give us a little insight on how was that life coming to New York and where are you now today?
Yeah, now I am in a little city outside of Austin, Texas. It's called Lago Vista because there's a lake here, so they call it Lago.
And so tell us about the time in New York.
Well, my parents were from New York, but they moved to Florida. I remember as a child, we would go visit New York whenever we could because they missed it and their families were there and all of that. I always said to myself, someday I'm going to live in New York. I just wanted to. After I got divorced, I thought there's nothing stopping me. And my business is transferable because a lot of my coaching was done by phone. If I had gigs and I had to fly someplace, they certainly have airports in New York. I just sold everything just about, and I moved to New York City when I was 60. I'm so excited that I did it. It was just a fabulous experience for me. And I met wonderful people, and I got wonderful work. And that's the story.
Kudos to you at 60 to basically change your life. And New York City is not an easy city to start a new life. But in a way, it's also an exciting city to meet interesting people. That's how I always feel in New York.
I remember I would visit a lot because my sister lived there. But then she moved away shortly before I was thinking about moving there. And she said, why don't you just move into my apartment? So that was perfect. I moved into her apartment. She had taken all her furniture with her and everything like that. So I went out and bought furniture. And there it was. I had it. Jim, can I have some water?
Yes.
Please. So it was a dream come true. I always wanted to live there. I had to get divorced to do it.
Oh, sometimes it takes a sad moment to change into something really good. And now you said you're living in Texas. What is happening now in your world?
In my world? Well, actually, and you might know this, I'm not sure, but actually I am living in a small town far away from Austin, about an hour drive at least. And I'm not working anymore because I have some health concerns that are keeping me back. I'm doing my best to handle them and to still have a life and to still be optimistic. And that's the big story. How did you find me now?
Well, I found you because we're friends on Facebook, and sometimes Anne is quiet. I fell in love with all the posts you had, honesty that you are sharing, and then also the outpour of your friends.
Well, I decided that it was up to me to be more open about my condition because I could hide here out in the country and not do anything. And I don't do a lot. I don't drive anymore. I don't even have a computer anymore because when you have something like this, it takes away part of your knowledge. But I thought one of the ways that I could be in touch was by using my phone and responding to people online because I have a lot of followers. I just started doing that fairly recently and letting more people know. I thought, why do I have to hide this condition? I've had a wonderful life and it's hard to give some of it up. But if it can help some people realize that you can still have a life, it's worth it. Yeah, I have dementia. I had surgery a couple years ago, and I think they left me under the anesthesia too long. That's what we think. We can't prove that,
Yeah.
but I think it happened. And so that my brain was not as useful as it was, but I've made it something to be positive about rather than being scared by it. I'm not frightened of it anymore. I just realize that there are things I can no longer do. My memory is good because that's the past. It's in the current times when it's a little more difficult because it's affecting me now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What can people learn that they're not alone? And that, I think, was the reason why I reached out to you, to be part of what you're going through and be part of your journey so that people can learn from you and also enjoy your positive mindset in that journey.
And I've been doing that. I've been writing every day online with the people that follow me and telling them what it's going on and what it's like, but also laughing and still being myself when I can so that they can see that, okay, she's still functioning. But I've never been ashamed of things that were wrong in my life. I've had surgeries. I also have a couple of autoimmune diseases. So I have some physical impact from that, of being weak, not very strong. If I can be an indicator to even one person that if they go through these things, they can make it, then I've done my job. So I'm not sitting back feeling sorry for myself. I'm being open about it so that people aren't scared. Look, I can not remember everything. That's the truth. But who does?
Yeah.
And the older we get, the less we remember, or we live in the past, something like that. But on a daily basis, I'm pretty much okay. I don't drive anymore. I don't have a computer anymore because I don't know how to function on them. We have a lovely little house. I'm kind of a news fanatic, so I watch the news.
Mm-hmm.
I watch movies. I have a lot of contact with friends through the telephone. And Jim, my partner, is a wonderful man. And he takes me into town to have lunch with people sometimes, or we invite people over here. So I'm still involved with other people, which makes me feel connected. I'm not hiding in here.
I think that's very important, not to hide. Otherwise, you get more alienated. So if you can have fun, and it seems like your Facebook posts are always fun.
I try to have them be that way. I have a sense of humor. I used to have a company called Humor University, and that's where I would get hired to do keynote speeches and things like that when I was in the profession. So I try to keep my sense of humor going, and I write about that sometimes. And then other days I write, this hasn't been a great day. I didn't feel super good, but I'm telling the truth in all circumstances so that people can know. Part of that is selfish because they reach out and they say, is there anything you need? And things like that. Although I haven't really taken anybody up on that. But so part of it is selfish. Also, I get to hear their voices and be involved in conversation. You can be experiencing this kind, I call it illness for the most positive way. It is an illness. It is a disease, but it's not something that's ultimately going to kill me. It's just uncomfortable. I used to be able to remember almost everything, and now there's a lot of things I don't remember. Names, places, etc. But by telling them that, then they know that if I'm acting strangely, it has nothing to do with me, but it has to do with this rotten experience that I'm going through. I did a podcast for someone a few months ago, early on, and it was so much easier than I thought it would be because I could just be honest.
You're a wonderful role model. You always have been. The first time I met you, I was like, wow, what a woman. What was the book?
60, Sexy, Sassy, and Free. That was the book I wrote. Because how many people are going to pick up at 60 years old, sell everything, and move to New York City from Texas? I just did it. The one advantage I had, like I said, is that my sister had an apartment. She wasn't going to be living there. So I knew I had a place to live. And it was on the Upper West Side, which is where I wanted to live anyhow. So it was perfect. And I stayed there for how many years did I stay there?
Almost 10.
Almost 10. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it was scary at first to do that because I didn't really know very many people. I was a member of the National Speakers Association. So I met a few people there that I'd met at national conferences and things like that. And I'm friendly. So I was able to reach out where I could. And I started going to national speaker meetings and meeting more people. And then with the coaching work that I did, I was able to go to some coaches' meetings. So I'm pretty outgoing, and it wasn't hard for me to make friends. Nobody was snobby. People would say, you don't want to go to New York. They're too snobby and all of that jazz. And I didn't find that at all. You're not snobby. I can tell.
It's what energy you give to other people. And we know that people say, oh, New York is a hard place. But if you come from another place and you're open and sassy and sexy, I think that's what people appreciate in New York. And then you fit right in.
Yeah. And then they loved it. Not that many people bought books, but when I would speak, I would sell books and things like that. Right now, I have a couple boxes full in my garage, but they're just sitting there.
So they're still available. So if somebody of the listeners, where can they buy the book? Do they have to reach out to you to get the book?
They have to reach out to me, but I'm thinking about putting it on Amazon. So, but somebody could contact me.
What do you do on any given day?
I read. I watch television probably a little too much. I'm kind of like a crazy news person. I don't have hobbies. I've never been a hobby person. I've always been a let's do this, let's do that. Not hobbies that I would do by myself. I'm very much an extrovert. When I was younger, I did a few things. I did a little painting and things like that. I'm not drawn to that now. I listen to books on tape or I read books and I talk to friends on the phone. It's a small life compared to what I had, of course. And because I don't have a car and I don't drive, I can't get to them as easily. But Jim, my partner, is just a wonderful man. He drives me places. He helps me go visit my friends, or we invite them out here so that I can be in touch.
I admire you.
Thank you. It's very different. There's no doubt about that. It's a little scary at times because I don't know where this is going. I don't know how much worse it's going to get. I want to be able to keep doing the things that I am doing, and I don't want to be more isolated. So it takes some effort to do that. And because he's a therapist, he can block off certain times in his day where he can take me someplace, or we can do it on the weekend so that I can be around my friends. Because I lived in Austin, I was born in Miami, Florida, but I lived in Texas for a very long time. And it was the logical place to come back. Plus, I have a son who lives here and a grandson now and a daughter-in-law. So I'm glad to be in the same place where they are.
I think you make the best out of it with a smile and the lipstick on. I need to comment on that because I see you. Keep on writing on the Facebook page and people can follow you and also be with you on that journey and don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's what I would like to tell you. Please reach out if you need something. We're here for you and we're with you on this journey.
Yeah, thank you. It's just that part's not as easy for me to reach out and ask for help. I was very independent, but now I'm getting better at that. I might say to someone, if I come into town on Friday, would you be available to go out to lunch? Or would you drive out here? We'll have a little dinner party. So it takes more effort on their part. But so far, everybody's been very willing to still be in my life because they've been there for a long time. Some of them have been my friends since before I even went to New York and everything. I knew them in Austin for a long time. I've always been very lucky to attract good friends.
I think you have a magnet. People come to you. And when you say now you're asking that they come to you. It's almost like a paying forward or paying back because you were helping them with whatever you touched their lives. So now it's us. We're here for you.
Yeah, it is. But because I was always more the giver, it's hard to be the taker. It's just a little bit more difficult. I'm honest and open about my condition. I'm honest and open about the progression of what's happening. I'm not pretending. I'd rather be open so that they know. Sometimes I just need to get on the telephone sometimes and say to a friend, remember that person that we were with? What was that person's name? Because I'm not so good at remembering names. And so not being afraid to ask is a big part of it. And then getting people to be willing to either meet us someplace or come out here so that we can continue to grow our relationship has worked very well. It's about, I don't know, 25 miles to drive into town, something like that. So it's not just around the corner. So for people to come out here, they've got to make some effort to drive out here. And it's hilly. It's beautiful. It's very hilly. And so they will sometimes come and other times we'll just go to them.
It's only a marathon distance away. Some people are running that distance, so it shouldn't be a huge obstacle to meet you. Obviously, if I was closer, I would come and meet you because it's an honor to learn from you and also listen to your story, and your leadership has impacted many people's lives.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's not always easy. Sometimes I don't ask for help because I'm stubborn. And then other times I say, I'm not accomplishing anything by doing that. So I find that they're more willing to respond to me because they understand that. And I'm more comfortable in the house. And we have 2 dogs, like I said, and our dogs are they're very affectionate dogs and they're really fun. So I like that. If I didn't have dogs, I'd be lonelier.
They're your companions.
They're my companions.
Thank you for sharing, and we love to check in with you again. And thank you also to your partner, Jim, who has made this possible so that we can record your story.
He's a good guy. I'm going to keep him. Yeah. He's not going anywhere and I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. Some people say, why aren't you married? I said, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No.
It's who you are as a person and who you are for the other person.
I think so.
We have a very good relationship. We're committed. Yes. I'm not always a rule follower. I'm not forcibly breaking any rules anymore, but I've had many people say, why aren't you married? And it's like, because it doesn't really matter. At our point in life, it doesn't matter. We're very well connected. And he has an ex-wife that he's very good friends with. My husband died a few years ago after we were divorced. So I don't have him anymore. Everybody in our different lifestyles knows everybody else. We all know each other. It's good. Life is good. Except for the dementia, life is good. It's not my favorite thing to have, but that's the way the ball goes sometimes, right? So it's been about 2 years now, I think, that I've been dealing with it. And the hardest thing is remembering people's names, remember their names, but they're used to that.
She tells good jokes.
I wish you a wonderful weekend, and I hope we can keep in contact.
Please.
And yeah, I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
When do you ever have a guest who admits that she has dementia? Thank you so much, Anne, for giving us a glimpse into your today's life. What are you taking away from this episode? Leaving Texas to come to New York at the age of 60. A lot to learn, but also appreciate what you have done. Take it from the Ironwoman. We have episodes every Monday. Check us out. We're on all the podcast platforms. And Take It from the Ironwoman is also the book Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Download it or get it in your local bookstore. Thank you for your support. Write a review, like us, on your preferred podcast platform. Until next time, see you and bye-bye.